Hello, welcome to Bars and Bells. My name is Ian.
And I'm Lauren.
And this is the weekend workout where we invite you to play with your strength. We have body weight and a little bit of space. We'll start with a nice little warm-up, and then we'll keep working on those skills like wrist warm-ups, core strategies for strength and suppleness that lead to the hamstring. And
hamstring.
Ooh, handstand. Looking at your hamstrings. I was looking at the hamstrings. Okay. Let's turn some lights on. It is a little bit dark here, but get yourself going just how you like on a Saturday or thereafter in the archive. We'll start with a ball of foot shape here. Take the standing leg, the flat foot one, and squeeze your butt cheek. Then go to the toe tip of the other leg, and also then squeeze your bum cheek, and allow yourself to roll over, but respect a limit on the arch if it does say, hold on. But then press back to those balls of feet and push our hip through as we extend the leg at the hip. Then repeat. Pause on the balls of feet as a unique position with a bum cheek squeeze on the other side. Then proceed to the toe tip. Also give that glute a good cramp. And then allow yourself to flex over on the foot, then back to the balls of feet and push the hips through. Now I'm going to back up a little bit and we're going to take that same foot articulation on a walk. So with your feet in parallel, go to the balls of the feet and then the toe tip and reach while touching the floor as allowed all the way out front, landing toes, ball, heel. Feel a pull effort on the front leg and a push of the knee through on the back. Then roll over the foot, reach it forward, land toe, ball, heel. The front leg again is pulling back as that back knee pulls itself through. Over the foot, repeating and landing toe, ball, heel. Feel the pull. The knee comes through. We roll over the foot in the back. Out front, toe, ball, heel. Pull. Recruit the glute on the front and the hip flexor on the back. And one more time each leg. Out front, land toe, ball, heel. Front leg pulls back. Back knee pulls through. And one more repetition here. And if we just take a look at Lauren here as she finishes that last repetition, get the knee towards touching and get so tall on the other leg that you can bring the leg through now without bringing the knee forward. And then add a little bit of a shake. Let's do that same walk in reverse and we'll hand it over to Lauren to continue the warm up from there. So now the knee stays in the same place as we reach back. Then we'll straighten the leg at the knee, landing on the heel and pushing forward to go back. Get tall so a straight leg has room to come through. The knee connects, then it bends, and we'll straighten it out. Land on a full foot, push forward to go back, tall on the leg. When the knees are touching, bend it in place, and then straighten it back. And we'll do that just one more time here as you push forward to go back, hips tall and through as the knees connect. One last time, drag it to the back, extend or straighten the leg, and then push forward to bring it tall. And come back on the screen here, Lauren, and what's next as part of that warm-up?
Excellent. Next, we'll make our way to the floor and warm up our wrists as we're going to be crawling a little bit today. So let's get there, continuing on that ankle mobility by gently pressing the knees towards over the toes. Our tailbone lightly tips to the back wall to make room for those femurs, and then we'll push down, press up, and let's find that toe balance up nice and tall. Keeping the cheeks nice and squeezed, we'll start to bend the knees and slowly lower. We'll stay up on those balls of feet as we come all the way down. Soft landing on knees with or without your hands. Extend your hips, point your toes out the back, and lightly sit back. Next, we'll extend the hips back through. We'll extend our arms, keeping our shoulder blades together. Hinge on the hips, and place those fingers, callus line, and full palms on the floor. With those hands down, our shoulders pulled down out of our ears, and our elbow pits rotated forward. We'll keep the grip with all of the fingertips, distributing weight through all of them. So push your thumbs heavy, push your index heavy, your rings, your middles, or skip those, your babies. And now let's gently, lightly drift forward so your shoulders are getting towards over your wrists and your wrist extension. And then use your fingers and press yourself back. And then pull yourself forward, engaging those lats as you drift towards wrist extension and press back. And we'll do that one more time, pulling down to bring ourselves forward. And this time we'll press through those first knuckles and then lightly flick the floor away, giving that a little shake out. Let's do a 180-degree spin as we spin those fingertips to face our knees this time, landing through the hands softly. As we're here, let's push all those fingertips heavy into the floor, and then we'll shrug our shoulders up into our ears, and then we'll pull our shoulders down. And let's do that one more time. Light shrug up, and then pull down into those lats. This time, can we sit back, keeping those elbows nice and straight, but the palms attached to the floor and the shoulders out of the ears. And then we'll rock ourselves forward. We'll add a slight bend in the elbows and try to sit back into that, keeping the full palm connection. And then we'll peel the palms away, continuing through those bent elbows, flicking the floor away, and we're back in that low sit. Let's stand up by extending the hips through, tucking the toes, rocking ourselves back, again, with or without hands. We'll stay on the balls of those feet as we press up. Keep those heels high, 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 high off the floor. And now straighten those knees. Rib cage down over top of hips, butt cheek squeeze. We'll land softly and slowly on the heels. And then gently shake that out. Whew.
Excellent. Continuing to work on those balances and those hip mobility exercises, let's take a single leg to the front and feel free to use that balance aid at the side if you need. Do the point to the front, similar to how we walked earlier. But now at the ankle, pull the foot to the shin, changing it to the dorsiflex shape. Then in place, do our turned out hip, kneecap away from your midline. Then turn in on the hip, kneecap to the midline. Repeating again, externally rotating away from the midline, and then turning in towards it. And finish one more repetition of the out. Then integrate the point and bring the leg to the side, ensuring that the hips are staying forward. Then at the ankle, we'll change the shape again. Then turn in on the hip, keeping the hips level. We'll do our turn out, keeping the hip forward. Lots to think about, but again, it's a stability idea on the standing leg, a mobility idea on the other leg now as we turn out, and we'll finish one more repetition of a turn in, a point, and tall, 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 bringing that leg right underneath. Repeating the same thing now on the other side. So transfer your weight, toe point to the front, finding the midline. Then do your ankle shape like that, or dorsiflex. Then we'll turn out in the hip, keeping the knee straight. We'll turn in on the hip, keeping both knees straight and the glute squeeze that you're standing on. Repeating an out, repeating one more in, and then lastly, a turn out action with a toe point. Then bring it to the side, pushing the hips forward to remain tall, and then the ankle changes again. Now we'll turn in on the hip. We don't want ripping and tearing feelings, but definitely intensity building exercises on the lateral bum here, and then we'll turn out. We'll do a turn in. We'll do one more turn out, and we'll turn in one more time, and reach away with that toe point, and tall, 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 bring it underneath the hip, and then just settle into that. And it's back to Lauren for more stuff.
Let's warm up that core next now that our wrists are all fired up. We'll get back to the floor via that toe squat, but this time we'll keep our heels down as long as we can. So we send the knees forward. Then we sit those hips back, creating more room. Trying to keep a long spine for as long as you can, and then it will gently flex and round forward. Now let's peel those heels up off the floor, add a soft landing, extend hips. We'll place our hands down and get first into our regular plank. So with our hands underneath our shoulders, our toes tucked back in our plank, we'll lift our hips and our shoulders will be in line with our hips. Squeeze the cheeks together. Pull the shoulders out of your ears. Without moving, thinking about pulling in parallel. So that's when we pull our right hand to our right hip and our left hand to our left hip. And keep that tension and keep breathing underneath it. Now push the hands forward. What you might find is your hips start to lift. So let's go with that. As we push the hands forward, the hips will lift. We'll keep that anterior tip of the hips, meaning tailbone to the ceiling, and we'll gently breathe, lightly trying to straighten the knees. We'll pull ourselves back through to that plank and hold. Cheeks, lats, breathing underneath. This time, let's pull our right hand to our left hip and our left hand to our right hip, creating cross-body tension for 3, 2, then again, push the floor forward. Feel those forces, lift your hips up, breathing. Maybe you have that slight bend in knees, and then you gently try to straighten them. And then one last time, we'll pull through and we'll end in this plank position. So hold, pull in parallel, 3, 2, pull an X pattern. 3, 2, knees down. Whew. Back to that tall kneel, pushing the floor away, extending the hips. And as we did on the way down, we'll tuck our toes, we'll rock back, and we'll find those heels as soon as we can. And then we'll press through to tall, extending the hips all the way up. Whew. Shake that out. Fired up.
Fired up, and always checking in on those wrists. That's not easy. We're building that intensity and strength, endurance for the wrists for the handstand. Now I'll return to the back of the room here as we'll go into a little bit of a squat walk here, and let's get into a first position of that slight turned out V stance as we are. And let's pull ourselves first into a squat, creating that nice diamond shape between the feet, the knees, and the hips. And then push the hips forward, pulling up the kneecaps, fully clenching those glutes. Repeat again, but this time we'll move. Pull ourselves low. Now I'll be transferring weight to this right side of mine, and then the left leg reaches out front. Land toe ball heel. Pull on that front leg, and then push on the back leg. Return the heels together, and let's just stand up. Cramping glutes, pulling up knees straight. Then return to that squat or plie shape, and transfer weight to the other leg, and reach the other way. Pull and push, and then heels together, and stand up nice and tall. Now for 6 more reps, or 3 each side, let's stay low the whole time. Pull, low, stretch a leg. Feel the pull and complement with a push, and pull together. And then reach out front, pull, push off the back leg. That's 2. We'll go 4 more here as you go to the front. And we'll pull and push together. Reach, pull through those hamstrings and push through those hips. And one more time to this side. Is this hip forward? And then one last time to the other side here. Pull. Sorry for hiding you there, Lauren. And then knees together.
I'm still here.
Push those hips, and then add that little shake. Uppers and lowers and back and forth. Give yourself an opportunity to have a quick sip of coffee. Hit like and subscribe on the YouTube channel there. And now we're back to Lauren for more core and crawl.
This time, we'll add a little motion to our elephant position. So let's get back on those tiptoes, up on the tiptoes, slow down. Let's take 5 seconds to get all the way down. 3, 2, and then soft, quiet landing on the knees. Hips extend, point the toes, sit on those knees. We'll extend the hips through, and this time we'll find that elephant or high A-frame down dog position, and we'll move opposite hand and foot. So placing the hands down, tucking the toes, light tip of the hips to ceiling, not too much. We'll hover the knees, we'll push the floor forward, lifting the hips up in the air. Warming up those hands, warming up those hamstrings as we take an opposite hand and foot walk in the forward direction. Just as we did in our wrist warm-up, we're peeling the palms away, flicking the fingers as we go forward. Let's do 2 more in that forward direction. Breathing. And now could you go backwards? As long as wrists are okay, let's stay on here for a couple more seconds. We have those elevated shoulders. We're pushing the floor away as we would in our handstand. We're breathing, and we're just getting used to being upside down. Now we'll drop the knees towards the floor. Extend the hips by flicking the floor away. Toes will tuck. We'll rock back and keep those high demi points or balls of feet. Keep the heels high off the ground as you slowly, 5 seconds up. 3, 2, press to that tall balance and hold. Make sure you're squeezing your butt cheeks as you're up here. And then slowly descend, rib cage over hips, and shake it out.
It's harder when we go slow. Lauren, why do we do that?
To make it harder.
To make it harder. Practice those time under tension
techniques. And to fill in the gaps.
To fill in the gaps. All right, I'm gonna start a little bit closer to the camera this time. We're doing that same squat walk in reverse. So pull ourselves down in that squat or plie, and now we're reaching a single leg to the diagonal or that 4 o'clock position. I land with a full foot. I'll push to the front that my leg straightens in the front, and then pull together, knees bend. Then reach to the back, that 8 o'clock timeline, the leg lands. I push front to bend the back leg, and then together. Reach out the back, push forward to go back, then pull the heels together. Reach back, push forward to bend the back knee, Now both legs bend, and one last time, if room permits, push forward. Bend the knee, and then one last time here, and pull the knees together. Then push those hips through, full glute cramp, ribs to hips as Lauren's cued, and then let it kind of melt away in between.
Whew. All right, progressing those skills towards our ultimate kick-ups today, we'll be adding a single leg into the air out of that elephant position. So this time we'll come down to the floor via our hinge. We'll chop our hips back, keep that long spine. We'll tip forward and end up right away into that A position. We're breathing. Our shoulders are elevated. Our elbows are nice and straight. Next, we'll pull ourselves forward into that plank. Breathe, keep that core tension as you take a single leg, flick the floor away, and lift that leg up towards the ceiling. Now here, we're keeping our hips square to the floor. Pull yourself back through. Hold that plank position, try to get some wrist extension, then push the floor forward, lifting the hips. Hips are square to the floor. Both legs are trying to maintain straightness. Then pull yourself through. Wrist extension, pause. Then push forward to lift up. Square up, breathe, reach, pull back through. One more time each way, or one more time on this leg, sorry. Reaching, shoulders are elevated, hands are gripping. Pull yourself back through to your plank and hold. And then step your feet as you need to push your hips back to your hinge position. Walk yourself back up, push down and out on the floor to extend the hips. And shake it out.
Always those shakes to reset all that tension in the exercise. We'll continue our squats today, but let's open up our stance as we explored in the walks. So here we are in that slight turned out position. And then just where, if we stepped out, could we confidently land? From this new position, let's pull ourselves low. Your low, my low, Lauren's low. Challenge that range and maintain your integrity. Now as we stand up, we'll pull both feet together nice and tall. Then pick up a foot, point an ankle, and then land in the middle of those 2 feet again. And as we stand up, pull those legs together. The next pose, we'll try to find that ankle balance. So pick up and land in that squat, and then find a straight leg, cramping glute with the knee to the side. Then point and land and power up, finding our balance, maybe with an 8 at the side, and point. Find the knee this time if that's allowed as we go up to that knee and hold and point. Hands on hips, hands in the center. Find a nice strong position for you. It might include that hand on a bar and stretch. And for one more time, come up to the knee and straighten the leg and land with control. And final time, right up to that knee with that balance aid touch and point and land and power up and then heel toe that back together with our shake. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, I think it's time to explore a couple kick-up options today. So if you're interested, we were going to proceed with those. If not, you can go back to your plank holds during this time, or the elephant crawls, or even a bear crawl. So our first kick-up today is going to be that tripod entry. So how we do that is we start with our hands on the floor in a staggered stance. 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. Our knees are up off the floor. And now all I want you to start with is kick and try to switch your legs. Baby air, you're just getting your feet off the floor. You're loading your hands and shoulders. You're breathing. So start with about 2 more of those, or 6 total, as we kick and try to switch legs. Maybe you get a millisecond more of hang time in that last one, and then push the floor away and stand up tall. Don't worry, we'll build those skills, but for now, just get used to that position.
We'll work in this I go, you go path, I go, you go protocol here. So if you just went with me, maybe watch Lauren and we can learn a couple things. So Lauren's doing those nice baby airs, the weight transfers, and is demonstrating so beautifully. The shoulders are staying over the wrists. Over the wrists. It's hard on those wrists, but it's safe and strong for that handstand.
So we'll try that again. And if those baby airs were good, let's add a little bit of teenage air. So we're going to kick switch and find a little bit higher. You progress here in this one to the safe height that you feel comfortable with. Hands are nice and gripped on the floor. We're still alternating that kickoff to use both sides of the muscles, brains, bodies, legs. And those hands are nice and firm on the floor. If you're nervous about kicking too far, you can always leave that leg out back behind you and then you'll always end up back to where you started.
And taking your time, bailing out will happen as part of this exercise here, but giving yourself that opportunity to check in and slowly climb the ladder to finding your inversion. So Lauren's doing that alternating kick up again and taking time between sets perhaps to make sure that your hands are gripping the ground, those elbows are nice and straight, and the blood is in the right places, because upside down can be quite challenging on the head. As Lauren said there, we can keep that leg cantilevered out the back to prevent ourselves from tipping on over, and again, the shake and the wiggle. Back to some squats here. We are in our slightly turned out position, then open to the side, land toe ball heel. This time, let's pull ourselves so that one leg bends and one leg stays straight, just like in that squat walk earlier. And now point the other foot and lift it off the floor. You might need to bring it to the middle and then incorporate a little lift. And then land, toe ball heel. Just like that squat walk, we'll pull and then push, and then same idea, lift the leg, high tension foot. It is handstand class, so try to point those toes. Pull, and then push, and this time with the leg off the ground, stretch your standing leg, full cramp, then bend that standing leg, knee and ankle, as you pull across, and then push, again, to get to the other side. A full leg stretch, a hold for a second, a knee bend, grabbing of the floor, pushing the other way, a full leg stretch, and as a last challenge on this repetition, could you find the balls of feet so that the heel's off the floor, then we'll land slowly, bend the knee, feel the pull, push away, lift, stretch the standing leg, and again, I have an advantage of a balance aid here, but perhaps with or without, hold your balance, return to a full foot, knee bend, pull yourself to the middle, and then push those hips through, and then together, shake out arms, shake out legs, stay nice and limber as much as you want to be nice and strong.
So we're getting into our second version of kick-ups here today, which is our step-in entry. In this position, we'll start with 1 foot forward, 1 foot back, arms overhead, elevated shoulders, so hiding those ears. And before you even do anything, let's get into that hollow position, which means the ribs are down, connected to the hips. Now, we'll take a step forward, and again, I just want you to try baby air. So soft landing on hands, and we'll try to do that switch foot so we can alternate our takeoff leg. As we land here, think about pushing the floor away to get yourself back up to tall, breathing, taking your time. You are going to have a leg preference, but try to use both. Again, you're just testing the waters here, getting a little bit upside down, feeling what it's like in the hands, feeling what it's like in the head, and then pushing yourself all the way back up to tall.
The handstand kick up, this one is my favorite. Lauren's go-to continues to be that tripod. Challenge everything, and it'll make your favorite feel even that much easier. So again, Lauren starts with those elevated shoulders, the toe point, and we want to land on the floor, fingers, calluses, hands, and then articulate or press away like shooting a basketball with a nice follow through. A couple more reps. I think I did about 6 or 8 or 3 or 4 each side. Stay fresh. There's lots of time still to warm up those wrists or keep up the challenge.
Whew. Shake that out, and we'll try that one more time. So that arms overhead, shoulders elevated into that hollow position, and that alternating leg takeoff. I too like to think about when I do this getting up and over something so that I try to get my hips right away stacked over my shoulders and then my toes. If we try to attack the floor at a side angle, we'll never be able to get that stacked position. So I like to think belly button in, up and over a mini fence to land softly on my hands. As well, because our hands are landing from a further distance than that tripod entry where they started on the floor, make sure, just like we did in our warm-up, that you're absorbing through your hands on that landing.
Absorb with straight elbows. Maintain those tricep extensions or straight elbows and the shrug. When we use our kettlebells, those armpits are down, but right now, feel free to lift them up. It's a strong and strengthening position. So here we go. And if you hear it, which I don't, it's very quiet, it's very efficient. Keep that core tension between you and the floor. Don't send your energy with crashes to the ground. It just makes it harder. So finish with a couple. If you can, maybe celebrate a nice little inversion there. And then again, our little shake and our wiggle. We have one more exercise of your choice to come up with that handstand or crawl progression. But until then, let's work with those hips. So turn out to that first position. Do our squat. Push those hips through, finish up nice and tall. Then repeat that squat, and staying low, could we transfer weight so that we could hold a quick bent knee balance here. For 3, 2, heel down, and push your hip through. Repeat on the other side. So it's a down on 2 feet. There will be a weight shift as we pick up that other leg, challenging the knee bend and our balance, and then push through. Repeating for one last time, it's down on 2, weight transfer here and now. Could we try to find the ball of the foot or a little heel balance there? That's challenging. And then back to 2 feet, push those hips through, and one last time. Knees over toes, weight transfer, and even if it's just a pretend idea, try to lift up that heel, politely stress out the quadriceps of the knee and the calf of the leg there, and then to 2 feet, and push the hips through. Little shake.
All right, let's pick your favorite exercise from today. Planks, elephant walks, reaching back from that plank to that 3-point position, your step-in entry or your tripod entry. And let's do that one more time for about 30 to 45 seconds here. We'll breathe, we'll use those hands, we'll get used to being upside down for a longer duration. But if the wrists are done, take a sip and watch. We'll go in about 5 seconds. We will be trying to hold that handstand position. You do what you like.
I was just about to ask, what are you doing? You're holding it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Get ready in 5. Upwards of that 45 seconds here. 3, 2, and when you're ready, go ahead.
Oh, darn it. That was pretty good. How long was that?
That was about 45 seconds.
Oh, pretty good.
Whew.
Excellent. Oh, well, seeing a little bit of stars, but just taking my breath and recovering nicely.
So we worked on
There you
those
go.
hips and ankle mobility. We learned some crawls as well as some versions of our kick-ups, and we're working towards those handstands. But exploring lots of skills in between that you can continue progressing if handstands are not ever going to be in your wheelhouse. Take some lessons from that for the ankles and the wrists, and join us on Tuesday when we get back to strength training with the kettlebell.
Then on Thursdays, we go to the bar, where we were working on our push-ups and our plies. Push-ups for full body strength.
I was so sore after last week.
Those slow
Ooh.
versions, those time under tension techniques definitely build in its intensity. So every week, we're live 3 times a week for 30 minutes at a time, plus some added videos here and there. So thank you for joining us today. Please like, subscribe, share, join our newsletter at our website. Maybe sign up as a Patreon to support financially because money makes the world go around. And until next time, take care.
Stay strong.
Let's train soon.
Goodbye.
Have a good day.